Mike the Pike Moen.
Yes, yes.
Neutralboy.
Yeah, yeah.
Great to have you. Great to have you back. Always a good friend of mine.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Yeah, man.
This is the only thing I like doing as far as like interviews and stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, over the years, you've been on quite a few times.
Yeah, and out of my 40 years of playing punk rock, it's really the only interviews I've ever done.
Well,
Like
here we go.
If you Google it, there's like 3 other interviews.
What have we missed? I mean, let's just catch up because it's been a minute. You just got off the boat. You've been doing
Goofing around in Seattle.
some work in Seattle. But I think the news of the day is Neutralboy has a new record. Is it out?
It is.
It's out.
It's out. Yeah, it came out on 4/20.
Rock Polishing Machine. Love it. So this is only available on vinyl.
Only available on vinyl. I'm trying my best to keep it off digital.
Keep it off digital. No streaming, no YouTube.
No streaming, no YouTube.
There's no video for
unless
it.
somebody else does it, and then we got beef. And you know I love beef. Anybody knows me?
Yeah.
I like to eat beef.
Yeah, oh yeah. That'll give you a whole new album worth of material.
Yeah.
Okay. Rock Polishing Machine. Is this how many years since the last record?
It's got to be 6 or 7, maybe. So our last record was supposed to come out on April 1st, 2020,
Okay.
and the country shut down. So I ended up with a box of records, like a lot of people ended up with a box of records and nowhere to go.
Was that this?
No, that was
That's the last record. What was the last record called?
The Inevitable Sellout.
Okay. See? I even missed it. Everybody's world came crashing down, and you guys had all this merch.
We had to cancel our tour.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's all good, but like at the time, it's kind of devastating.
It was scary, and
yeah.
I do all this out of my pocket, so then nobody can tell me what to do.
Okay, I like it.
So that came out of my pocket. Like the country shut down, and I was already broke
Yeah.
prior, so it was weird.
So are you playing guitar or bass on this? What are you doing?
I'm playing bass guitar this time.
Okay.
I had a gnarly back surgery, and when I came out of it, I couldn't hold an acoustic guitar. I couldn't hold more than like 5 pounds. So as soon as I got better, I hadn't played bass in so long, and I hadn't enjoyed. Bass was my first instrument, and I hadn't played it in 10 years or something. So when that was the first instrument I went to. And then I was playing with Josh from, what was his band called? Bomb Pops.
Okay.
So
Josh the drummer.
Josh and I and Bill Man, he was playing drums. And Bill Man were goofing around, jamming, and doing basically the love songs from The Hated, which we used to tour a lot with Tumbledown and stuff.
Yeah.
So we were going on that vibe, and Bill and I were kind of switching back and forth. And Bill's a killer acoustic player where I'm not. I'm better on bass than I am acoustic guitar. So we kind of just fell into that. And I've been waiting for Ray to get back on the drums.
Mm.
Everybody came out of COVID a little different. So I was waiting for Ray, and then all of a sudden Ray was like, I'm ready. And I was like, okay, well, we're us three. We were love songs from The Hated at the end. I was like, let's go with that and make Neutralboy out of it, like toughen all the songs up, yell and scream and whatever.
Yeah. So here we are, Rock Polishing Machine. What like a Intensity, Intense City. Of course, that's a classic song.
Right.
Can't wait to hear what you guys did with it to punk it up a bit. Do we want to hear? What do you want to play? You want to play something off the record and we can talk about it?
Sure.
What do you got?
Let's see what I can get here.
Cover art, by the way, cover art and photo by Pat Moriarty. And it was recorded, mixed, and mastered by Rick Vaughn.
Rick Vaughn, who I met through Monkey Trench.
Yep.
Because
it's my boy.
I was here not day one, but maybe day 2.
Yeah, you were early.
Working on Monkey Trench, and that's how I met Rick.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a little beat.
A little what?
A little offbeat.
Offbeat.
Like
he's
much
different.
like I am. Him and I really
Yeah.
We get along, man. Like,
Yeah. He's so fun to just hang with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our music, you know, if I say, I want my bass to sound like John Lord from Deep Purple, who's the keyboard player, it makes sense to him, where the average person would be like, well, who's John Lord, and why do you want to sound like somebody that plays organ?
Yeah.
Like, no, I want the guts.
Yeah. So he actually could figure out the sound.
Yeah, he knew.
Just based on...
He knew before I even showed up. Like,
That's cool.
He knew we were recording it live. He knew my bass, I don't want it to sound farty, but I want it to have distortion, and
Yeah.
I want it to sound like my voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
For it to match, you know. So it was really, did this really in-house. Like Pat Moriarty and us and Rick are the only ones involved in the record, and I kept it that way. Like,
Yeah.
I could have reached out all over, but I was like, no, this is, it's got to be close-knit. It's got to be homegrown, you know.
That's cool. I think you probably accomplished that. So people are going to hear a cell phone playing into the microphone, because these songs do not exist. I mean, they somehow exist somewhere, probably on the internet, because they had to get pressed, but Mike does not have them. So
I am very...
He's got them on his file on his old phone that's half cracked.
Yeah, it looks like I got drunk last night. This song's called Waiting on Jenny.
Waiting on Jenny. It's track 2?
Yep.
Track 2. Let's pull this
See if we
out.
can do this. Now it can work for me.
It'll work. Track 2, I'm going to pull this out. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see the artwork and the vinyl and everything we got going on here.
You know this song.
I know this, dude.
We
It's so
worked
good.
on this song.
It just feels good because, like, I've heard you guys play this live. You know, it's great.
And that's what the fun of it being a lot of the love songs from the Hated stuff.
Yeah. It really works. I love that line. He drinks energy, because it's true. It's a true story.
It's Mike Schrader.
Yeah. He drinks the energy
he used
drinks.
to drink the energy drinks and vodka, and I drank beer.
Yeah. That's so good.
You know, it wasn't a love song, but it was a friendship song for sure.
Yeah.
And so when he first started dating his significant other, we all woke up. I was living with Mike. We were living together, and I didn't know Jenny that well, and I was just like, man, I wish she would leave. I'm hungover, and I gotta go number 2. I gotta go rock the deuce, man. Like, and I remember sitting about this far away from her, and I'm just like having a conversation with her. I'm just like, man, you gotta leave, dude. Like, I really gotta go.
She ain't leaving. She never left.
Oh no, and she it's so funny. And then it was funny because they drove off, and he was driving her car, and I was just like, oh, that's the opening lyric, man. He drives her to work in her own car.
It's so real. It's like, that's what I love about Neutralboy, is you guys really just have, like, you have such a raw, authentic lyrical style.
I try to keep it honest.
It's probably the most
that's
it.
Honest thing in my life is Neutralboy.
Is your lyrics? Yeah. That can't be true. But I mean, that's the thing, is like, people these days are so conditioned. Well, they should be anyway, to being lied to, as far as like just used to being lied to. Like, they don't believe anything you hear the first time. Check it. But with Neutralboy, this is going to be what happened, at least from your perspective.
It's all true stories. It's all true stories.
Yeah, and I've known you a long time, and the stories haven't changed.
No. Because
Right?
things have only gotten worse.
That's a great album title. Things have only gotten worse.
They really have. Things have gotten worse since we recorded this last summer.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, I used to be one of those naive characters that thought, altruistically that, racism would cease to exist eventually, that people would not be poor forever. Like we were all going to be equal and have and then now they're trying to say, AI is going to bring about a world where you don't have to work, but they just hand you money.
And what does AI stand for?
I don't know if that's going to happen.
What does AI stand for?
Fake intelligence.
Fake.
Yeah, just artificial.
Artificial, no intelligence is what it should be.
I mean, I think you have to just game the system no matter where you are in life. Yeah. In some ways, I don't mean take advantage of people though. I think game the system is the people that are trying to take advantage of you.
Yeah, you got to know who's coming at you and what they want.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I don't want to get too crazy, but what else? Let's listen to another song off the record.
And that was another reason why I really wanted Rick to be involved in it, because this is recorded on 2-inch tape.
This is no Pro Tools.
Everything's first or second take. And we didn't
Live
mess
to
around.
tape.
Like if it didn't work, we would just record another song.
And you can feel the power. You can feel the energy.
And that's what I'm hoping for. I hope you can feel the honesty of hopefully you put it on, you're sitting and...
You've for a long time I've recorded with you, but quite a few times. You're pretty much 1 or 2 takes vocally.
I like to do that.
And is that still the case? And then, so I think, okay, back then if you were 1 or 2 takes and you're still 1 or 2 takes, your 1 or 2 takes now have to be better, right? Because you're just you're just getting better and better.
Yeah, I hope I stay in key, and the words, when they alter, that's because I'm not going back and fixing them. If I say the wrong thing or use the wrong name, we change the name of the song. That's why Neutralboy songs, you can go on the internet and the same song is named like 4 different things because of whatever.
Yeah.
It's now.
It's now. It's the what is it? The Mandela effect.
And yes.
It's like that, but it's actually real. You're actually changing. You're like gaslighting all of us. What? No, this is the same song. Wait, no, I swear this was a different name before.
This is how I operate.
That's great.
This record is, like I said earlier, how it comes out of my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
This is the record, Neutralboy record I wanted in my record collection.
That's cool. That is cool.
It's for everybody, but I wasn't worried what anybody thinks except myself.
I think that's the closest you can come to like truly nailing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
living off grid. So I've been living off grid for the last year with my wife and my dog. I've had no instruments. If I have a pen and paper, I'm like the kid at camp. It's dark. I got a flashlight and I'm scribbling and
okay.
So this record came out of my head.
We'll talk more about living off grid, but yeah, go ahead.
So this record came out of my head. It was like the name of it. I ran across my grandpa's Rock Tumbler. And I remember being a little kid and just so stoked to have these rock tumblers, and he turned it on and it was the noisiest thing you've ever heard. Like you couldn't even be in the same room. It was so noisy and so annoying, but it spit out these beautiful rocks. So I was like, man, it's kind of like Neutralboy, dude. Like, we got all the bumps and bruises. Literally, I mean, bad teeth, bumps and bruises. We are what we are. And so it just made me chuckle when I saw the box.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Neutralboy is a rock polishing machine. Well, that's a name. So I called Moriarty before we ever even recorded it. And because Moriarty, he was pissed he didn't do the last record. So I was like, okay, well, we're doing it with Pat because he was so offended.
Yeah.
And I called him and I'm like, okay, it's called Rock Polishing Machine and this is why. And I mean, I'm telling you, like, within a week, he sent that to me. And I'm like, okay.
All right, there you go.
No altering it. Like,
that's cool. That's great. I love it when that happens.
He does most of his stuff if not everything, by hand. So that fell into the, okay.
Yeah, he's doing it all on paper, pen, pencil, colors.
And he's really fun. He's fun to be around. He's like Rick.
Yeah.
He's enjoyable to be around.
That's great. What else do you want to play? What are you thinking?
Black Sabbath. But
Black Sabbath. All right.
So my grandma, I went to go visit my grandma when she was alive, and her house was surrounded by the bomb squad because there was a bomb threat down the street.
Grandma's making bombs.
And if anybody knows me personally, my grandma, I'm not a political person, and I hate everything, so
yeah,
I'm not going to stand on any side except my own side. But my grandma she was alive in the first Depression, you know.
Wild, yep.
So I got a lot of mine listening to her talk.
What's the second Depression?
Now.
Okay,
yeah, right now.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
If you ain't depressed, if you don't got the blues right now, you're not paying attention.
I'm laughing too much. I shouldn't be, but if I don't laugh, I cry.
Exactly. But yeah, so my grandma was my political kind of, I believed what she said because she was there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it means something when you hear it from somebody that was actually there.
Since I can't stop it, well, this is the first song of our next record, new record.
Intensity, such an amazing title. And you guys...
So I was Ted Nugent, as much as Ted Nugent sucks. Ted Nugent's part of the problem. So he had a live record called Intensity in 10 Cities.
10 Cities, yeah.
And
so you just took it one step further.
I was living in Bugface from The Descendants and all. I was living in his garage in Fort Collins. And I was down at Surfside 7, and I met this train riding girl, and then of all things, I came back up here, and I'm reading the paper, The Stranger or whatever, and she had died up here. She'd made it up here, and she ended up getting murdered in a tent city. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, oh, intensity in tent city, like, kind of writes itself.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's all true. Everything's true.
Yeah. You're not just
try not to alter.
Making things up. No, I mean, the lyrics have been the same. This is one of my favorite songs you've written. Honestly, it's so good. It's so raw, but well done, and I like all the decisions you guys make. Yeah, man. So, off-grid living. We can't. I know myself, and I know I'll forget if I don't bring it up. But is that going to affect? Before we even talk about it, you think that'll affect your songwriting a bit?
I think it already has.
It already has.
So Trailer Park on the Water, one of the songs, and we've had this conversation, but you're a part of that song too. When I first wrote it, I was living on a sailboat in Emeryville. That's why it's called Emeryville Marina now.
Right. I was like looking for it.
I change the title.
I'm crazy. Never would have guessed.
So I was living on that sailboat, and I didn't have a pen or paper, and so you have to keep going over and over again.
Yeah.
And it ends up being catchy because my memory's so bad that, like,
you only remember the good stuff.
I have to remember it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I see the notes in my head. So I see the notes written down in my head. I know it's a, you know.
And do you play it? Do you play it on the guitar in your head?
Yeah. Or with my hand.
Here's the riff.
So what I do is I do it with my hands. I look like I have someone's uncle with a nervous twitch.
Yeah.
You know? But that's how I do it, and I really learned a lot when I did that. When I wrote that song, so that's how my writing is now. Like I say, I got a flashlight. If I'm lucky to have a pen and paper.
Yeah.
It's
wild.
Taking it really back in.
I love the lyric. I live in a trailer park in the water, and it's so like oh, I totally get it. It's kind of like a kind of an old marina.
Totally.
With old boats, everything's and it's a community of people that are like all like doing their thing.
You got squatters.
Yeah.
You got middle class, or not. I don't know what class anybody's in, but yeah, you got squatters. You got people with jobs. It's in Emeryville, which is next to Oakland, which you got tech companies.
Yeah. You got rich people and homeless people.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody
all together.
All together. So
yeah.
That was really cool, and it was a lot like a trailer park. There were so many different people.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. I didn't know what I was getting into when I got into it, but I'm glad I did it.
So I live in the trailer park in the water. Here you get everything you need. I live in the trailer park in the water. This is my gated community. Rich people drinking red wine, bipolar artist. It still smells like suicide. We all come here to die. We all come here to die. All right, it turned a little dark.
Dude, that was what was said. This guy, Fred, lived across from us. He literally woke up one morning. I'm like, hey, Fred. And he's like, we all come here to die. And I was just like,
what?
No shit, man, we do.
We do, you're right.
It's kind of like life in general.
I got to get out of here.
It's like life in general. You're born to end up dying.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Is it such a bad thing if it's like a place you love? You would want to die there, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it is what it is.
Let's keep going. Oakland sunsets, helicopters in the air. You see that fancy lawyer? His daughter overdosed right there.
And it's a true story.
I'm sorry, try not to laugh.
It's a true story.
That's sad if you're
Can you imagine walking to your boat? Because she hung herself off the mast of the sailboat. So, like, imagine if you're just going home.
Yeah.
Groceries.
And you always think of that. You're like, God damn. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wish the dude would sell that boat.
Yeah.
Get it out of here. Like, that's wild.
It was really fun. And it was a great way to experience the Bay Area. I mean, it's hard to even breathe without going broke in the Bay Area. It's so expensive. And I enjoyed every minute of it. I enjoyed eating top ramen.
Yeah.
Cooked with salt water out of the San Francisco Bay,
I love this. This could be your neighborhood and I could be your neighbor. It's almost like a warning.
No, it totally is.
Right? Like, you better beware, dude. This could be you. I could be your neighbor.
Could be worse.
Somebody's like listening to this right now going, wait, that sounds exactly like where I live.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Man, when I did a show, like a private show out in the Bay Area a few times, but one of the times I went out to the ocean and went to this like bar crab shack kind of place right on the beach. And, people are always coming to the beach to like walk their dogs and have picnics and do their thing. And I got like a lobster roll, and it was really good. It was amazing. I got the bill for it, and I was like, "This can't be right.
Right? Did you give me
can't
somebody else's
be right."
bill?
Like, I only ordered one thing. Like, and I asked, and I felt bad because he's like, "Yep, that's the price." Like, it was like $60 or something. Like, I was like, for a sandwich. Okay, all right, cool. Hey, great sandwich. Now I know.
Great ambiance.
Yeah. And it was like a dive bar type place. Like, it was not fancy. Not that it was bad, but it was just like I wasn't expecting that. But I mean, man, you can go broke in one day.
Oh,
over
no,
there.
you really can. It was amazing. Like, I had a lot of friends down there, and I've been going 89 or 86 was probably the first time I ever went there on tour. So, like, I have really old friends down there. And to watch, like, some of those friends basically live in a U-Haul truck in somebody's driveway, paying $1,500 a month to sleep in the back of a box truck. And 10 years ago, now it's even gnarlier.
Dude, it's a wild life out there. And, I sometimes I think, obviously, we're lucky, but it's like what leads people to certain places and, circumstances for sure.
Jobs. Like a lot of those people have really good jobs, but they live with 8 people in a flat,
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the reality of it. Seattle's not much different, if not the same,
Location is everything, honestly. Like you can have the same income in one city and go across the country to another city and have the same income, and it's like night and day.
Yeah.
And that's what's so strange about, economics these days, and it's just hard to know who's really struggling and who's not, because
we're all struggling.
We're all struggling in some ways, even if it's not, even if it is monetarily, it's just like you kind of ratchet up. The more money you make, the more you spend, or the more you get used to this, and the more the subscriptions people have, all the streaming, just to watch NFL football these days, if you added up all the subscriptions you would need to buy, it's over $100. It's like basically paying for cable or go to the game. Yeah, go to the game. Go to one game, but it's expensive. Yeah. It's wild. I mean, and of course, we all know how to get around that, but not everybody does.
And we're all one bad decision away from being that person standing out in front of 7-Eleven or behind 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly, people that do get ahead in life have drive and have something that's pushing them forward, whether it's, they were raised by parents that gave them a good leg up or a good advice or whatever, led by example, right? Like that's obviously the easiest way to do well in life, is have parents that support you. There's nothing wrong with that, people. Don't feel guilty about that. I think it's almost like the way life is meant to be, is having that family that supports each other. But if you don't have that, there's other ways. You use that lack of support as a drive. You used those lessons, those hard lessons learned, these lessons you hear in these Neutralboy songs, because, I can't believe you're still here and Neutralboy's still a band, still putting out records. You guys have been around a long time. And you're putting out bangers, and just the fact that you can press this thing and have it available for sale. Where can people buy it before we get too lost?
PloyRocks.com is the only, you can get it through Ploy or come see us live.
PloyRocks.com.
And that's how I wanted it, because Mike and I have always supported each other's Sounds dumb, but we're artists.
Yes.
Him and I are both artists. We've spent our whole life being artists.
I think that's how we get through, is
I got his back, he's got my back. So when this whole idea comes, it was like, what am I going to do? I live off grid. I can't have a website. I can't have emailing me.
You can't check it all the time.
I might talk to you in 4 days, whatever, when I go get groceries 40 miles away from where I live.
So let's talk about that. It's a great thing to end on, kind of, but like living off grid, is it something to where if you had an internet signal, you would be comfortable being online? Or is it, no, I don't want the signal, even if it was like available to me? I like being totally cut off from the internet, so when I need to go into town, then I'll check my email and do like you like the separation. What is it about being off grid that really is the crux of why you're doing it?
F the man.
Just F the man.
F the man.
Okay.
And F the man. That's my main thing.
No property taxes, or
got property
you do
taxes
because it's a piece of land you live on.
No water.
No water bill. No electric bill.
It's all tax. I'm a punk rocker, man. I've been on tour since I was like 14.
Yeah.
I don't shower. I do not. I don't.
Let's clip
I
that.
don't use water. So like I'm paying tax.
Yeah.
When not to get political, I'm just being real. With
Yeah.
Electric bill. I'm not really home all that often, so like.
Do you use what batteries? What do you use?
We have solar.
Solar that feeds batteries.
Solar.
Okay.
Generator, whatever, and then we have a gas generator because it's Washington and it rains 9 months out of the year. But we had to learn all that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been thinking, my wife and I, we've been thinking about this for several years, probably since COVID, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been on tour all my life, so I'm like, oh, living off grid. I've lived off grid my whole life. It's nothing.
It's like being at a festival.
Yeah.
But better because you have more of what you need.
Nobody's there.
Yeah, and nobody's there. So that's way better. We love you all.
So we've been dreaming about, we've been on Zillow and whatever, and sending each other. We'd be right next to each other in bed, sending each other properties.
Mm-hmm.
What if we could live here? What if we could live here? So we were kind of working on it, and we would go camp. We've been camping since we got our dog Arlo. He's blind, and we realized right away, like, he loves walking trails because the bushes kind of guide him, the smell of people lead him.
Yeah.
We're not outdoor people. We're bar people. So Arlo getting us outside.
Yeah. How long now have you been off grid?
A little over a year. So
do you feel like you're learning a ton all the time? Are you becoming outdoor people?
Oh, yeah, but really,
You are?
We'd become outdoor people. We'd go camping. We went throughout.
Oh,
like
before you
years.
even moved, you've kind of like, you made the transition.
You
practiced?
No,
like training?
We really did. We were like, have you ever camped in December? Hell no, we never camped in December.
So you tried it.
We'd go out to Scenic Beach out in Seabeck, and we would camp for the 2 weeks that you're allowed to camp. We would sit there in the freezing cold in a tent.
You're just crazy enough to do it right.
And we'd be looking at each other like, are you still stoked? How still feeling cool? You know? And it's like, yeah, actually, this is really.
Yeah.
And so we would go out in Chico and to Dickerson Creek up there, the waterfall. Our dog liked walking that walk. And that was really where it just started clicking. It's like, what if this was our driveway, man? Like,
yeah. All right. Let me ask you, do you have things you have to do every day as far as like farm chores kind of thing?
It is.
Homesteading
it's like
chores.
Everything is a little bit, not necessarily harder because everything in life is hard. It's how you go into it. But waking up and making coffee, you got to go.
How do you do that?
So I have a French press, which I normally use anyway because I'm from the Northwest or whatever.
Pretentious,
totally. But we have to go 20 miles to get water that's drinkable. You know?
Okay, so you store water, obviously.
Store water. And
so where do you store it?
We have the big 5-gallon jugs, and then we have a 35-gallon, and then we have a 250.
Do you have any filtering?
That's how we grew up into it.
Like rainwater that goes into a filter?
Boiling right now.
You boil that, you catch that, and then boil that too?
We boil, yeah.
Or we
pretty much boil everything just out of mental, okay, I know I boiled this, and I know I took all the precautions.
Yeah.
I've been in countries where the water's way worse, you know.
So do you to heat up the coffee, how are you doing? Heat up the water?
So we started out with a little Coleman cooking stove. When we started out we sold everything to do this. There was no sense in lugging a bunch of stuff around. So we sold everything but our Coleman stove, small little tub of dishes. So we started with a little Coleman stove.
Yeah, and that graduates to what?
So then we learned after the summer, we're like, everything that pertains to us goes on sale at the end of the summer. Everything's like 60% off, 75% off. So we went to corporate Fred Meyer over here, and we waited till the end of the summer, and then we got ourselves a griddle, one of the fancy griddles.
Runs on propane?
Yeah. Okay. So we moved from the little Coleman stove to the Coleman stove and the griddle.
Yeah. Propane is expensive right now.
Propane
it's insane.
is a drag.
Yeah. So what do you do about that? You just use it sparingly?
You know, we have to drive to go. Like, we can get it in the nearest town 20 miles away or whatever, but it's $3.85 a gallon or whatever.
Yeah,
so
that's even pretty
we gotta
cheap.
Go Port Townsend area or somewhere, and then it's a little cheaper. You know, it's like $2.80 a gallon or whatever.
So what you're saying is you just have to be more intentional. You have to plan out a little further in advance for everything.
Totally, and that's what kind of makes it a little more work. You don't have
the luxury of boom, delivery tomorrow, whatever.
Everything takes a little bit of work. So when we moved there, really the only thing we brought was our truck and our little trailer, which is a 16-foot trailer, and some hand tools of my grandpa's. My grandpa's like 120 years old now, you know, so his tools are, some of them are from his father. So we're out there with 100-year-old hand tools.
You should have like a documentary film crew following you around for this, because this is.
Sometimes I think about it because.
Yeah.
So I got the rock and roll thing. I'm into old cars and motorcycles. I got all that cable TV stuff. I'm doing it. I've been doing it.
Yeah.
So this off-grid thing was like, well, man, we should be filming this.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get away from all that.
Yeah,
so
like
it's
that's
really hard. Our grown-up conversations, only grown-up conversation we really had before this was, hey, you ready to have a kid?
Right.
You know, and it's like,
maybe a dog.
Not right now, you know. I got this thing I got to do tomorrow, you know.
I'm good with blind dog.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, that dog was a prime example of like, that's us. You know, like, we're caregiver. We took care of my grandma all the way till the end. So became a natural caregiver. Just had to. So the dog is like, well, of course we got a blind dog. You know?
Dude,
but it's been the most enjoyable experience. I mean,
yeah, Arlo is the sweetest
he's
dog.
just so
oh my
awesome.
God, I love Arlo, and you know my kids do, and
Sailor, they came, you know, they both came over and they would sing to Arlo.
Yeah,
that meant a lot. It means a lot, and we still sing that song.
Yeah, so cute.
We honestly do. I'm not even lying.
That's so great. Such good memories. Well, dude, thank you so much for catching us up on Neutralboy and the homesteading. We could do
having me out here.
Absolutely. We could do like a whole episode on just the homesteading stuff, but
totally. Maybe we will. I mean, I'd love to have you come out, and
maybe we do it out there.
you might have to sign a contract, but
Yeah. Non-disclosure.
Totally. But that would be fun. You know, bring the kids out.
Yeah.
Really see it's cool. It's the most punk rock thing I've done. Like the partying.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
whatever, you know, whatever punk rock stuff I did, losing all my teeth, whatever. That none of that is as punk rock as living in the woods.
Dude.
I'm a city person, you know.
Yeah, that takes balls.
I lived here, Seattle, LA, Denver. Everywhere I've lived has been like a big city, so.
Dude, that's a whole rewiring of your brain.
It really is.
In a good way that I don't think most people, including myself, are ready for.
I'm the healthiest I've ever been. And it's not.
Amazing.
I'm the sober guy, because I am the sober guy. But that isn't anything compared to like waking up and having to walk a half mile to the end of your driveway.
Yeah, what do you do for that?
Crazy. Just walk.
Oh, you just walk.
A lot of exercise.
You just walk. Walk to do it. You just have that routine that gets you going for the day.
Exactly. Like, you can't lay
Awesome.
you can't lay in bed.
Yeah.
And
No. Of course not.
And not having any electricity, which is something that's really cool, is like now I'm staying up till 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
3 months ago, I was going to bed at 4:30 in the afternoon.
So you just go to sleep with the sun and wake up with the sun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And do as much as we can.
You're like a chicken.
Yeah, totally.
I love it.
But the cool thing is you can decide, like, okay, yesterday I stacked wood. I don't want to stack wood. I'm burnt out on stacking wood. So today I'm going to cut trees down or cut bushes down.
So you're doing firewood for the winter. You're like,
For sure.
or for now too. But cool.
We're doing it for next season now.
So you do it for next season because you have to have it drying in stacks. Yeah. Okay.
which is
Yeah, like what, Mr. Outdoor? Do you wear a flannel now?
oh, for sure.
Yes, I love
a few
it.
of them. You know?
Yeah, excellent. One more time, how can people order the vinyl online?
Ploy Rocks, PLOYROCKS.com/Neutralboy.
Go buy this vinyl if you're a fan of punk rock. If you support Neutralboy and local Bremerton and Kitsap, and this is the record you want to get. And go. You got any? You probably don't have any shows lined up, or maybe
Later in June.
June. Good.
Yeah, we're gonna tour at the end of the summer.
All right.
A lot because of living off grid. Like I got stuff I got to do all summer.
Yeah. So you got to time your touring to where it doesn't interfere with your chores.
So
I get it.
October we'll be out all over.
Rad.
And we'll be doing random stuff here and there. We're gonna do some fly out things.
Cool.
I want to go see Anton. Hey Anton.
What's up, Anton?
I want to go to Minneapolis and see Anton and
Good.
stuff like that.
Excellent. All right. Stay tuned for it.
All right. World peace.
Want to thank Pike Moen for being on. Make sure you check out Neutralboy. Follow them on Facebook, on Instagram. Just find them on there. Mike Moen isn't himself online. He's off grid, but you can find out when they're doing shows by following them on those socials. And then real quick, mxpx.com for all your merch. All the links will be out there. We'll see you soon. And shout out to Bob McKnight for producing and Christine Hall as well for producing. I appreciate you guys. All right, peace.